And we're live. Here we are again, like every week. Innotivity Live, it says on the screen under my face. So welcome again to Innotivity Live. And a first, it's a first for us on Innotivity Live. We have the same guest host as last week. That's how good she is. And I am playing simultaneously out on YouTube and watching myself, and now you heard that. But anyway, let us go and join our co-host, who is here for the second week in a row, and that is Ms. Yoke Van Dam. Here she
Hello,
is.
everyone.
Yoke,
Hello.
welcome back. Why'd you come twice and put yourself through such torture?
I love sharing the stage with you, Michael. I just can't get enough. And I really thought that we have worthwhile topics that we've started speaking about, and we didn't even get into any base. So hopefully this week we can get a bit further.
Fantastic. So I want to start with the question I didn't get to last week, which is tell us about when you were 15 years old and you were selling pizza.
So I was very entrepreneurial. My parents brought us up to say they can afford these things, but if we want anything else, then we better go out and do it. So I was actually in primary school already, or that was primary school, making pizza, selling pizza. We were having entrepreneurship days, and I remember in high school that I was doing this as well. And I would actually make best friends with the teachers who would let me out 15 to 20 minutes before break to go and warm up the pizza. On the way there, I would get a few orders, and by the time the pizza was warm, all of my orders, everything would be sold out already. So I actually saw the power of influence, networking, collaboration at a very, very young age. So that was just one of the things I did, but I was always working, whether it was at Woolworths, pharmacies, Italtile. I think, your parents teach you that you can't just wait for handouts from them. You need to learn to make your own money and develop skills at the same time. So that was definitely part of the pizza selling was my first intro into work.
Okay. I was hoping it'd be racier than that, but it's a good story. It obviously shows that your entrepreneurial spirit, and also any story about pizza is always great, you know. Um, and I want to ask you the second question that you dodged last week unknowingly, and that is this. Every single guest host on here, we get them to confess what it is they're not saying, right? What it is that you've been wanting to say that you're not saying. And last week you dodged it because we had very little time left, and you managed to really talk about what you wanted to help people with. But that's not the question. And we're about to have a guest this week who last week was asking for help, and we're going to help her now. But before we do, let's warm up the field by you being honest and sharing what it is you're not saying. And I'll even make it easier for you. Let me say what I'm not saying this week.
Okay.
Right. So what I realized that when I started this whole live stream thing was all based on me being in the hospital and realizing that I hadn't gone out and really said, you know what, I can help people speak up. It's actually something I can do. I was too shy to do that and felt like I don't have the, experience someone like you has, for instance, or the level of training and skill that you have in training speakers and teams. But I realized I could say that. Now, this week, what I've realized is that I need to really even up the game more. I need to really get people to be clear at the level of input I can provide with that. And I got lucky. I got put on Radio 702 this week and
That's
managed to help like
amazing.
four entrepreneurs who called in just minutes. And it didn't seem weird to me, but apparently people were quite impressed with how fast we got them to get some input that helped them. So I just, I want to be, without sounding like I'm boasting, I want to be able to say I really can help people, and I want to do that. And we're going to do that with Kwanda today. But what is it you're not saying, Yoka? What are you not actually saying that you really need to say?
So there's maybe more than one thing, but the one thing that comes up for me is to say that the business owners out there, the people that are selling things, know your worth and ask the right price. Don't just do things for free. Know your worth, do your competitor analysis, come up with a proper rate card, and actually ask for your worth. And there are some instances where you will do things for free, but that will be for marketing purposes, or it will be with the correct audience. There needs to be a trade exchange in place. But really know what your worth is. And before just having a meeting with people and giving them all of your gems away for free, first establish if they are your correct target audience. If they could have the funds to do business with you, you can then generously give from yourself. Because as Deb Khan, one of the consulting queens, says, in your very first meeting, you need to show a consulting client return of investment. But if you're just giving everything away for people that can never do business with you, you will not be able to eat, you'll not be able to live, you'll not be able to support your own family. So be very selective. Like she says, don't throw spaghetti against the wall and hope it's going to stick somewhere. Be very strategic where you are throwing the spaghetti. Know that the spaghetti is actually going to bear fruits, and be very straightforward about what your services cost, and you will actually start seeing that you can build a sustainable business. Because if you're forever going to do work for free, and I'm speaking from personal experience, I've recently been through a lot of time wasting, spending hours and hours and hours of proposals, and I've just realized that I need to stand my ground and know that everyone will not be able to afford my services, and that is okay. But the right people, you are willing to invest the time and give generously to them to build that wonderful business that you want. So that's what I wanted to say, Michael. I hope that's in line with what you wanted.
No, not at all. Absolutely not. It's wonderful, wonderful input, great advice, and totally impersonal. And I'm gonna have to bring you back on the show over and over again until you share what it is that you need to say.
Okay.
But but let's go to Nakwanda. Nakwanda is a student of mine from last year. She studied in my Innovation Explosion program, and she's done great stuff. But last week, she told us that there's something she had a question about how to speak up. And now we get to do some live coaching. So here we go. Hello, Kwanda.
Hi, Michael. How are you? Thank you for having me. So I totally agree with Yoke right now. I think being in business and when you're still not confident, you try to adjust yourself to meet standards for people, clients that you, because you just want yourself very exhausted and not being yourself. So thank you for that, Yoke. Yeah.
Sage advice from Yoka. Just not
The question.
yourself. But so Nakwanda, tell us, what is your challenge? What are you trying to solve? Uh-oh. All right, let's try putting Nakwanda on full screen.
My business, and I wanna learn.
Uh-oh. Nakwanda, we've lost your audio completely. We're not hearing you.
Perhaps what I could do, Michael, in the meantime, I could just say what she said to us at the beginning while we're waiting for her to come back. Nakwanda was saying to us that she's a fashion designer, and she was a stay-at-home mom for quite a few years. And she said, as she's now entered back into the workplace, she's really found what Michael's really talking about, speaking up, finding your voice, saying what you need to say is what she really needs to focus on. And she says she really needs to build the confidence. So, so Michael, maybe we can start on advice there. Do you have any advice on speaking up or confidence before I go?
Yeah, well, I'm going to mostly leave it to you. But the first thing I notice is that, speaking doesn't necessarily mean with words, right? With Nakwanda, it may be about her designs as a fashion designer. It might be she's not finding the right way to express that. I don't know, because we've lost her for a minute, but we'll bring her back hopefully in a second. But obviously, the question of being afraid to speak is really the core of the problem for everybody. Whether, the question is, why is she afraid? Like, what is the fear about? And that's what I want to hear from her. It's like, where is it coming from? Is it fear of being judged by people? Is it fear that she's not good enough to say the right thing? Is it fear that she might have to, follow through and live up to what she says? Like, there's a lot of those issues. So I'd love to hear from her before we try to pin it down, which of those or what are the fears that she's dealing with. But do you have any thoughts before we try to bring her back?
Yeah, when I speak to coaching clients, I usually say to them, where did your fear start, or that feeling of being uneasy or not confident? Because very often when people fear, like you call it, speaking up, or if you're going more extreme, you want to do public speaking or you want to do a live stream like we're doing right now. Sometimes people's fear started, they were in primary school and they were forced to do an English presentation. And at that moment, the entire class burst out in tears. And now what's happened is they associate speaking up or being in front of people as a negative experience. And what has happened of a lot of clients is they then actually in their brain, it creates a strategy. And you know this from NLP. So if something's happened 3 times, then you actually need an intervention to change that neurological pathway. And sometimes it can result into panic attacks, and some people go red in the face. Or I've done a lot of work when I was working at Auto Trader. I was training all of the national sales teams, and I saw whenever we were going to do role plays or we were putting people on the spot, they had to come and now present something. Suddenly there was a lot of people on sick leave. So people literally didn't come to work because they were petrified of doing that. And it's due to something that happens somewhere in their life, completely even unrelated to this. But that strategy was created in their brain. So last week we spoke about visualization. You can actually reframe it. So it's just a simple thing that I do. I say to the person, so let's say at that moment you're feeling very overwhelmed. You ask yourself, how do you want to feel? So let's say you want to say, I want to feel calm. I want to feel confident. I want to feel empowered. I want to have a voice. So what you say to yourself is, I'm not feeling calm right now. I'm not feeling as energized and as strong and powerful as I want to. So what your brain is actually hearing is the positive words. It's not hearing the word not. While if you're saying to yourself, I'm so stressed, this is going to go so badly, you're actually making it worse for yourself. So that is just a little technique where I say to people, reframe it. So take the negative, turn it into what you rather want and put not in front of it, and your brain is not actually going to hear it. And that's just one of the ways that you can calm yourself down and allow yourself to get into the state that you actually want. Another technique is I say to people the night before, make a movie of what you want. So whether it's Kwanda speaking to potential clients in a fashion design business. So is she wearing a beautiful dress? Is she inside? Is she outside? You're actually creating this whole movie of what you want, and you're imagining the sounds, the feelings in the right way that you want it. And what actually happens is your muscle memory can actually kick in and give you those states. So those are just two simple techniques that I would say, if you are struggling at speaking up, finding that confidence, overcoming that fear of speaking up for the first time, especially if you haven't been in the work environment for a very long time. That's one of the ways.
It's really that's really great stuff. And now I think we can bring Kwanda back, and let's find out if there's any more precision we can bring to her particular situation. Kwanda, welcome back. Uh-oh. Kwanda? You look fantastic, but we can't hear a word you're saying. Okay. This is the great thing about live. I've seen on the news sometimes people throw to the Ukraine and there's some reporter there they can't connect to. So it's kind of like that. Kwanda, maybe try turning off your camera for a second so we can at least hear you. Can you? Hang on, everybody. You can also join us in the studio and have no sound if you want at that link. But while we're waiting for Kwanda, if you want to see the live streams every week, you can register at this link. It's simple, bit.ly/Innotivity live. And there you will get a reminder every week of, who our guest is and what's going on with that. And you can also go to YouTube and watch the previous episodes at our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Innotivity TV. Let's try now if we get Kwanda better audio with her camera off. Kwanda?
Michael, while we're waiting for her, I wanted to ask you, what were some of the coaching topics or concerns that you were addressing on 702 the other night?
Really just people were calling in and looking for help with their businesses. A lot of, well, not all just businesses. There was one guy who wanted to make some kind of TV project around differently abled people in the township and their achievements. But mostly, a lot of people out there, especially in South Africa, are looking for how do they get a business started when they don't have access to the kind of resources that they think, and I'll be clear about that they think other people have, right? A lot of the time, I'm sure you come across this, people think that they are disadvantaged compared to others. And they don't realize that most of the great businesses started, in someone's garage or started in bootstrapping from nothing. It's not, they think that somehow in another country we get some kind of massive money just given away for free to people, which is, not true. There's actually a lot more money in South Africa in a lot of ways for small business than there is in a lot of other places. But that was the kind of questions. Really, how do I get started when I don't have stuff to start with? It's mostly.
Oh, wonderful.
And the input is different in each case, but it really has a lot to do with just start where you can. Start wherever you can, and make it possible to take a step forward, regardless of what that step is. I'm trying to call Kwanda now on the phone and see if we can at least get her audio on here. So let me see if that works. Let's try it out. Kwanda, you're going to get this call now. And she's not answering that either. So this is exciting. Let's talk a little bit about, oh, wait, there she is. Kwanda, are you there?
Yes.
Here, there, okay. Yoke, can you hear Kwanda? No? I'm putting her right against my microphone on the phone. Kwanda, go ahead and talk.
Okay. So Michael, as I was saying, I'm going back into the work fully. I have my office. I've set up machinery, everything. So now I have to get clients. I have to approach clients. So I have to speak up. I have to go out and find clients. How do I communicate well? How do I say what I need to say? How do I get the price or get the right amount that I think I deserve? How do I place myself in the market?
Okay, so there's two questions in there, Kwanda, and one thing, turn your camera back on with us, because at least we'll see you there and we'll hear you here, so that way we can kind of see you. There's two questions here, and I'm going to throw the second one to Yoke, because she already started talking about it, right? Which was, how do you actually demand your value? But there's a prior question to that I want to ask you a question about, which is, you're saying, oh, she's left entirely. Okay, you're saying that you can come back into the room also, Kwanda. We can put you on screen with your picture and listen to your voice on the phone. But the question I want to ask you is, what is it that has you feeling like you can't go out and ask for what you want? What is stopping you? Kwanda, did you hear me? Okay, but that's what we're doing. So the question I'm
Just
asking you
put her
is, what?
close to the microphone.
Yeah, I have to. She's not also not. This is like exciting technology. So what I was asking you, Kwanda, is what is it that you are afraid of, or that's having you not go out and ask for what you want? I get that there's a level of maybe you don't know what it is that you're worth. But before we get to that, what is it that's not having you just go out and ask for whatever you ask for? What's stopping you?
I think maybe not feeling that I'm not good enough. Maybe my worth, I could say maybe that's one thing, and just not being confident enough to name the price that I think I deserve, and the skill set, the price of the skill set that I have.
Okay. So my first input there, Kwanda, would be: have you asked other people what your work is worth?
I think family and friends, but I think those are not really the right people to go by. But when on social media, I have a good response when I put up my work, when I post my work. I get a lot of interaction, and I get a lot of engagements, but it just, I don't know how to follow it up or make it work for me.
Okay, so I'm going to throw this part to Yoke, because she's an expert on this particular topic, and did previously share a bit about this. My input to start with would be actually go out and ask people how much they'll pay for it, or put a price on it that you think is fair and ask people to pay it and see what happens. Everybody worries about this. Every coach worries about what they should charge. Everybody worries about this, but you have to test it. You have to actually make an effort to just speak up is really the thing, and then use feedback, right? But let me ask Yoke to step in.
And you need to do a bit of competitor analysis to also see what is happening in the market. Because what you'll find with pricing is, if you're brand new and people also don't know you, there's a lot to do with pricing. With if people know you, you can actually ask a lot more, versus if you're a brand new person, no one knows who you are. So you need to do a lot of speaking up so that the market can get to know you. You need to possibly go and get into magazines, get media exposure, get to a lot of different places so people can start to get to know your name and your brand. And specifically, it's about seeing what is fair, but not going in at the lowest. So try to see if you can't put yourself in a margin more along the middle versus going in at the lowest. Because if you go in at a price war strategy, people won't ever see that your work is quality, because people often look at quality versus price. But you would need to work on your specific presence and your thought leadership and getting your name out there so that people can actually start recognizing and knowing your brand. So other things I also wanted to know, besides the designs, do you have like a corporate identity? So like logos, brand, that kind of thing. Have you managed to get your dresses into shops, or is that still you're only posting it on social media at the moment?
So I do have like a company profile. I do have a logo. I do have tags. What is the word? Labels and tags for my clothes. And I used to have my stuff in shops before, but I mean, since coming back into work, I haven't. I've been selling everything through social media and through like word of mouth and like contacts and stuff like that.
So for now, what you need to look at is it's about filling your bucket with different stones. So you don't want to put all of your eggs just in one basket, which is just social media. You want to look at, could there be other people that could sell your stock as well? So that would be, if you could get into a store where there's a lot of feet, then they are actually selling it on your behalf, but your margin and profit margin will be less than if you're selling it yourself. And then so it's actually looking at, are there other opportunities for other people to also put your name out there and actually sell your things versus just you selling everything yourself. So those are some of the things. What I was wanting to say to you is you need to ask yourself, what are the pain points? So let's just say the stores that used to stock your is it dresses, or what type of stock do you sell at the moment on social media?
So most of the things that I post is custom dresses, like stuff that I've made for customers, or like my own personal designs, like runway couture dresses. And then I have a range of like ready to wear jackets, tops, things like that, like the entry level price.
So I want to come in on here for a second, Yuka. There's a parallel here, right? You said that doing business and looking for ways to market yourself. There's a parallel to the basic principle of speaking up, right? Which is, like you said, why only speak on one channel? Is very parallel to kind of, you're talking to your friends and family, which I think, Kwanda, you mentioned, right? You're talking to your friends and family, but you're not talking to your customers. You're talking to your friends and family, but you're not talking to other fashion designers.
Exactly.
You need to speak all the time and say what it is you need to say, no matter how you feel, right? I get you don't feel confident. It doesn't matter. Nobody does. Will Smith got up on stage and smacked Chris Rock because he didn't feel confident about something. That's the only explanation. Not because he was confident, right? And he won the Best Actor Oscar. There are 90% of the people you think are more confident than you are not. They are just braver than you in the sense that they're willing to take the risk that they're afraid of. Right.
So what I want to add after you, sorry, Michael.
No, go ahead.
Is ask yourself, how could you potentially educate your market? So besides about your designs, it could be about, so you were saying you have ready-to-wear jackets. Could you actually come up with educational content explaining to women, what outfits work well together, where you're at the same time showcasing your work? Can you show case studies or tell little stories of custom dresses that you made? You could come up with beautiful little videos, interview people like Michael's doing right now, where you're actually saying, so I have this speaker, Michael, and I wanted to tell you about this beautiful orange shirt that I custom made for him. He's wearing it right now, and you're actually asking him about the experience. What was it like? Was he frustrated, never finding anything that quite fit him in the way that he wanted or portrayed his brand? And then he came to you. So you're actually getting a beautiful case study. So I'm just saying to you, if you're thinking of what you can talk about, that actually helps you a lot to get over the confidence hassle, because half of the time people don't know what they want to talk about. But if you put yourself in the shoes of the clients and you ask yourself, what would women want to know? If I owned a clothing retail store, what would I want to know about a fashion designer before making use of her? Can you introduce yourself in that way, show behind the scenes and show your credibility? And then they'll actually want to do business with you. So even if they don't see it immediately, before you set an appointment, you send them your YouTube link or your Facebook videos. They'll watch it and say, come through, because they've already seen your credibility before you've walked in there. So now you don't have to convince them that you're credible. They've seen you showcasing different things, talking to different people, giving educationals. They're like, wow, you actually know your stuff, and you can actually talk about the dresses that you got into the stores in the past and what your experience was there and how style have changed since 5 years ago while you've been an at-home mom, and what are you seeing now? How has things changed due to COVID? How are people dressing now? And how people maybe now their bodies shapes have changed due to non-exercising and things like that. And you can be the solution to custom make outfits that can give them the confidence to go back to the office or look good online. So
So
I
there we
hope
go.
those give you some ideas.
So the tip you said earlier, envision the future the way you want it. See, Kwanda, I think that just speak up, just go out and, it doesn't have to be just trying to sell. Like Yoke said, just speak up and, talk about what you know, talk about what you've learned, ask questions, just do it. Right. So here's my homework for you. And we have to wrap up now. We're actually over time, but my homework for you, Kwanda, is go have a thought about what you can say. And then tomorrow and every weekday until next Thursday, please make a post on LinkedIn saying something about fashion, about design, about your own fashions, anything. Tag myself and Yuka. Okay? Are you willing to take that on?
I'm taking it on.
Fantastic. Don't let us down.
No, I won't.
What did you get out of this conversation today?
I mean, just knowing that Yoke also had the same issues that I'm like the same feelings that I'm having. It gives me more confidence. And what you are saying, that it's not that other people are scared too. They just brave. They just do what they need to do. It's just about like forcing yourself and doing it. So that's what I'm taking away from today. It's just doing it.
That's it. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kwanda. We're going to bring you back next week to tell us about the results, and we're going to put your posts on the screen, so make them good. And Yuka, thank you for being here and helping out and being part of this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, everybody else, thank you for being here. We're a little bit over, so if you're still here, thank you for waiting and being patient. If you're not here anymore, well, then we're not talking to you because you're not here. But anyway, we'll see you again next week on Innotivity Live. And again, thank you for being part of the broadcast. And don't forget to speak up, say what you need to say. Until next week.